Hello, my name is Shelby Smith. Who has heard of Ted Bundy, the serial killer that murdered over 30 women in the 70s? Do you all know how he was caught? Would it surprise you to know he was caught by an officer who was proactively conducting traffic stops? The FBI, an official government resource managed by a reputable and authoritative U.S. federal law enforcement agency, stated on February 15, 1978, Ted Bundy was arrested in Pensacola, Florida, by local police after he was stopped for speeding while driving a stolen vehicle. Florida Department of Law Enforcement, official government agency, follows state and federal law and is designed by experts with the goal of properly training law enforcement officers, informing them of the safest steps to initiate a traffic stop investigation. To understand Florida's traffic stops, we are going to be discussing communication with drivers, initiating the stops, and conducting the stops. The goal of every stop is to promote driver education and make the roads safer. By greeting, informing, and listening will help promote cooperation and de-escalate the situation. We as deputies are not rewarded for de-escalating situations because it's simply our job. When the deputy initiates the stop and makes contact with the driver, the first thing that deputy should do is introduce themselves. Give the driver the information where you are working, what agency or office you are with. For example, hello, my name is Deputy Smith with Lake County Sheriff's Office. After the deputy introduces themselves, it's not required, but it is highly recommended that they inform the driver why they initiated the stop. Simply as, I stopped you because you ran through the red light. This will give the driver information and squish any questions or concerns that they may have. At that point, you will listen and watch for body language and hear them. Be a human being, treat them with respect, and see what they are saying. After you gather your information, you will explain your actions and do so in an informative, professional way. For instance, if you are going to cite them for something, explain to them the 3 options that they have when you cite them. They can pay the fine, they can go to court and dispute the ticket, or take classes. We as deputies are there to educate them and help make the streets safer. Initiating the traffic stops. The Florida state statute, the official authoritative source for the laws governing the state of Florida, states that police officers can pull you over if they have reasonable suspicion that you have committed, are committing, or about to commit a crime or traffic violations. At this point, the deputy has decided they want to conduct a stop. What must they do? They must notify dispatch of the stop by radioing in their ID, location, and license plate, and any description of the vehicle they have. Once they do that, they can activate their lights. Not every situation allows time to wait, but the best situation is to wait for dispatch to reply with the information of the owner of the vehicle. It's not guaranteed that the person who is driving the vehicle is the person that owns the vehicle, but it gives the deputy a little bit of a head start in knowing what to expect. After dispatch is informed of the stop and emergency lights go off, the deputy must position his vehicle in the safest route, considering the pedestrians and the traffic and any surrounding areas. Once they have decided that, they will position their car 1.5 to 2 car lengths behind the vehicle, quickly exiting the patrol vehicle and approaching the stopped vehicle. There's two ways you can approach: the driver's side and the passenger side. I prefer the passenger side approach. You will exit and go around the patrol vehicle up to the side on the right side of the car. This gives the opportunity for me as a deputy to observe more and assess the situation before they realize you're even there. You have no idea how many times I have gone up to the car and am standing there watching the occupants of the vehicle try to hide drugs or open bottle of liquor, and they don't even know I'm standing right next to them. It's amazing. So this is one of the reasons why I like that approach. Now, when I do that, the reason why I go behind my patrol vehicle is because if I'm working late at night, I don't want my headlights to show off my position if I go in between the vehicle, or I don't want potentially the traffic to hit my car and I get smashed in between the two cars. So that's for safety reason why I go behind instead of in the front. As I'm assessing everything, my surroundings, the occupants, the vehicle, I will then introduce myself, ask information, gather their ID, their registration, proof of insurance, just like we discussed the communication slide. As I have their ID, I will run that through dispatch. Now I have an option to stand there and assess the situation, or I could step back and wait until dispatch gets me my information. I tend to stay right next to the vehicle if I don't feel like their record is going to come back with criminal record. So if I do believe that they might have a criminal record, I will step back so that way they potentially can't hear that information. And I can gather all the information and then make my decision whether I'm going to give them the warning or the citation, or potentially I might have to arrest them. So that is all the reasons why you might see a deputy step away or go forward into the vehicle. The National Police Association, which is an organization that supports law enforcement and promotes the safety of police officers of the U.S., states that law enforcement officers proactively conducting traffic enforcement of any kind helps clean up the streets. I know I'm guilty of being frustrated by police officers who pull me over for speeding. And I think to myself, doesn't this officer have anything better to do? But think about it. Think about all the criminals that law enforcement have caught by conducting traffic stops. Ted Bundy could have murdered more women if it wasn't for an officer proactively conducting stops. Isn't that amazing? So I urge you to consider the next time you get pulled over to think about it in a different light. And think, that deputy could be sitting underneath a tree collecting pollen on the roof of his patrol vehicle. Instead, he is being proactive in hopes of catching a felon or save a life or educate someone. So I want to thank y'all for listening to my speech on how to conduct a traffic stop.